Hi, this is Graham from Jenham's Astro. In this video I'm going to unbox and take a look at a guide scope. This is the BST StarGuider 50mm guide scope. I picked it up online and it cost me just under £70. Now I wanted to get another guide scope basically because I've got a few telescopes that I wanted to try them out in longer exposures than I normally do. So I wanted to get another guide scope. I've already got one guide scope, which is this one, which is a Starwave 50. Now I've got this set up on my GT81 and I did wonder whether I could just buy a bracket to allow me to use this existing guide scope tube assembly on another telescope. So basically what I'm trying to do is connect a guide scope up to a telescope using a finder scope bracket like this one here. So I looked at the cost of buying a bracket and basically there wasn't much difference. If I bought a bracket to use this existing guide scope tube, then I didn't really save a great deal of money, so it seemed like a good excuse to buy another guide scope. So in this video we're going to open up the box and see what you can get for not really very much money. Okay, so I've removed the rest of the packaging. So we've got the rings, which, as I say, pretty lightweight. Got each of them feels like they're plastic. These bolts, certainly lightweight. The rings themselves metal, and the bar. The rings are attached with a couple of bolts. All seems perfectly solid for the job. The whole assembly weighs, I think, around 600 grams. The tube assembly here, you can see it's got 50mm guide scope, StarGuider written on the sides, quite smart, nicely finished. Removing the lens cap, hopefully you can see, I'll tilt it in the right direction, maybe you can just see a little tint. There is a little bit of coating there on the lens. It looks green to my eye. This is a f3.2 unit, so it's got a focal length of 162mm, I think. So in theory it's going to be useful for relatively short focal length telescopes, but I guess different people have different opinions on what ratio you should have for a guide scope focal length versus the main telescope focal length. So certainly if I get on with this guider, I'll try and use it on some longer focal length scopes and see how it performs. So looking down at the focuser end, we've got a series of screws. So if I undo these, then we can see hopefully that the camera, if it was attached into the guide scope, that it's got brass compression ring there. Hopefully you can see that there if I tighten it. So that's quite nice. It's not going to mark the camera. If I undo this bolt here, you can see that the whole focuser end of the guide scope moves by maybe 3.5 centimeters, and then this nut is tightening down the assembly. So I guess this is the operating position of the guide scope. Looking at the focuser, we've got, it's a helical focuser, so pointing the datum line, you see the 0. So as we rotate the focuser, then the draw tube is moving in and out, nice and smooth. Nice clear graduations to find a given focus position. And then if we, I guess, tighten this screw here, tighten that down, then the focuser doesn't move. There's a little bit of play here in the ring, but nothing sort of too significant, I'd say. It doesn't feel like the actual draw tube is moving. And we close it up again. Certainly first impressions, yeah, pretty good. Got all the adjustments you need. Looking inside the tube, I'd say it's reasonably well darkened, flocked perhaps, or probably just black paint. hopefully it will do the job. So next step is to hook it up and see that we can reach focus and get a bit of an idea of the image quality. Okay, so this is the setup we're going to use. I've put the StarGuider onto the finder bracket of my Celestron C90, and you can see with this kind of bracket you can fit the StarGuider comfortably inside the bracket, and the balance of the scope looks like it's going to be okay. And I've got my standard camera that I use for guiding, ASI 120 MC. It's a colour camera, but I've never had any problems with it guiding previously. And I'm just going to have a look at the video from this setup, and we can just judge if we can get a good focus when we look at infinity. Okay, so we're hooked up in SharkCap. I'm looking at a distant tree on the horizon, and this is the first video feed from the camera. So what I'm going to do now is to move the draw tube in and out. Initially I had the draw tube at full extension, and that really didn't work. So firstly, you can see that the draw tube will rotate when the locking screw is undone, and then that's approximately the position for focus. So I think we've got the draw tube around half extended there, around 15mm on the 3cm scale. So if I lock down that part of the StarGuider with the screw, and then we can rotate the helical focuser in and out of focus, and hopefully it's clear that you can get a nice clean image somewhere around there using the StarGuider. So what else is there to say? Well, if I lock down the screw on the helical focuser and also on the draw tube, then the whole assembly is pretty tight. It certainly doesn't seem like the flexure is going to be a problem with this arrangement. And then if I was to adjust one of the screws to move the position of the StarGuider relative to the C90, then you can see it's fairly straightforward to align the StarGuider to the main scope, or also to offset it if you need to achieve a good guiding star. Okay, so BST 50mm guide scope, is it good value? Well, I'd say that it is. I think we've seen that even though the construction is lightweight, we've seen that you can adjust it well, you can get a good focus, and that you can lock it down so that it's got a robust mounting, which is really an important feature if you're going to do auto guiding. I think you've got to remember that it is a 50mm f3 achromat, so it's normal to see some colour fringing when you look at the video image, and that really shouldn't be a problem for auto guiding. All of these guide scopes operate at a short focal ratio. So I think if you're looking for a low cost guide scope, maybe one like this that you can mount on your finder bracket, then definitely give it a try. So I hope it's been useful. Please subscribe to Jenham's Astro if you'd like to see more Astro videos like this, and thanks for watching.